Herzlich willkommen. Welcome to our, thank you, Max. I was here. To our third information of, organization to give you some details how to go abroad and what to take action in 2 countries we want to give you in more details. We have the honor to have 2 visitants from South Africa, namely from Stellenbosch University, Inus Boysen, and the second visitor is from Nelson Mandela University, Igor Gorlach. So Max will start with a short introduction what the procedure is you have to take for your applications. And we have also 2 students additionally coming from Stellenbosch to whom you can put questions, or they give us, if they want, also some hints. Thank you very much. Max.
Yes, I will start sharing the screen just to give you a brief overview.
Max, are you going to record this?
Yes.
It may make sense. Okay.
It is already recording, yes. Okay, that's today's agenda. So as Professor Son has already said, brief overview of the application process, followed by presentations of our visitors. And we would also like to address the topic of safety in South Africa, as it is often a question raised by students who go abroad to South Africa. If you would like to go abroad as a student in the School of Engineering, now is the time to inform yourself about our partner universities and the study abroad options. Latest by September 25, you need to submit your application, with one exception, that's Kettering University in the US, which has a later application deadline in October, 18th of October. Afterwards, once you have received your admission, there are additional steps, but we will not address it in this meeting. You can find a recording of our extensive preparation session online on our website. Website is a good keyword. So here's the web link as well as the QR code, all the relevant information concerning our exchange programs, also reports of fellow students who have already been abroad, information concerning all steps of the process of studying abroad, prior to the application, during the stay abroad, and afterwards. You can find on our website, School of Engineering, and then it's the page on Internationales. Now, I would like to give you some basic information about our long-standing partner university, Nelson Mandela University in Port Elizabeth. Now the city is called Keberja. You can see some nice photos of the campus on the left. So as you can see, very friendly environment, big campus, very different to Reutlingen. So the campus alone is a worthwhile studying abroad, and there are many other positive aspects to take into considerations. So the exchange program is suited for all engineering study programs. So regardless if you are a bachelor student, master student, enrolled in any of the engineering programs, you can find good options at NMU. For example, you can participate in lectures only. Lectures are taught in English at our partner university, and it's possible to transfer credits for the courses that you took abroad. Also, you can do your internship semester, Praxis semester, if you are a bachelor student, working with one of the professors of our partner universities, As you will learn right now from Professor Gorlach, there are many options also, including projects in cooperation with industry. The same goes for master's students who would like to do their research and development project during the second semester of the master's program abroad, or you can even write your bachelor's or master's thesis during your study abroad semester. All this is done either at a university laboratory or on-site with one of the partners from industry. For mechatronics master students, there's also the possibility to enroll in parallel at NMU for a mechatronics master's degree. So in the end, you can obtain 2 degrees, one from Reutlingen, one from NMU. But it's a very special opportunity that's not available for all students. But you are very welcome to approach us, and we will provide you with further information on that. It's important to have English language proficiency, of course. Usually it's B2 level. And you can go to NMU as well during our so-called summer semester, which is winter in South Africa, but also in our winter semester, which is then more the summer term in South Africa. However, it's usually quite short gap between the end of exams in Reutlingen and the start of the semester in South Africa. Application deadline is 25th of September. Okay, so now I would like to hand over to Professor Gorlach from NMU, who will give you a presentation on the project possibilities available in his area. Igor, please.
I'm not showing the campus, that video of the campus.
Okay, we would like to start with a short video. So don't worry if you don't hear sound. There is not much sound, so we will just run the video. This video gives you an impression of the student dormitories. It was a video edited by our students. Shows you the campus and the student dormitories. Barbecue area. It's really important in South Africa to have. The South African students agree. More barbecue.
Where is the vegan barbecue area? No.
So as you can see, the student dormitories are quite modern and have a high safety standard as well. Surfboard is mandatory. What the campus looks like. You can even see monkeys on campus. The students showing his project. So there's a lot to explore also in the vicinity of Port Elizabeth.
Just away from the city, famous temple park. Great park.
Okay, and if you are not yet convinced, Professor Golach will give you some more reasons, some good reasons to study abroad in South Africa. Which one would you like to?
Let's start with that one, and then oops. All right, so thank you very much and good afternoon. I'm just going to talk about the project that I typically supervise when students come to Nelson Mandela University. I normally take them to the factory, which is called Isuzu. So I'm going to show you the couple of projects the students have done before in designing various systems for Isuzu assembly plant that is located just outside of the city, 10 minutes drive from the center of the city, not too far. So those projects are done by students in previous years, from starting from basic designs, which is just right for 3 months or 4 months time that you spend in South Africa. For example, some basic, some more complex projects. In this case, you can see the truck is sitting on these special trolleys. They were designed by internship students from Germany. It's a very complex design. It needs to accommodate various types of vehicles, sizes, weight, and never fall out of that. Otherwise, the cost would be, of course, very high to fix that. Yeah. So the students actually done a fantastic design of this. And in automation, for example, students designed this automated guided vehicle that is shown here in this slide that would carry these trolleys full of parts on the assembly line. That was interesting, also a challenging project for students. It was done in stages, so there were group of one, group, and then second group of students, etc. In robotics automation, students designed, for example, this tool, as we call it, or gate, that must hold with pneumatic clamps, must hold different side panels for the assembly line. Then the robot would take that tool and then would carry it over to the welding station. So that was project done also by the German student. You can see this. That one is holding. That's one that was designed by the students. This assembly line was actually done in Japan, eventually brought to South Africa, installed in the factory. So it's 100% automated welding assembly line. Quite impressive, latest technology. Okay, so another project, for example, like this, designing of the fixture, again for the robotic lines, taking into account many aspects. That's good for the mechanical engineering students, for example, because this mainly mechanical engineering content in this one. And then some students did really very challenging work, designing from scratch the assembly line of this product, which is called rear axle. So they had to learn the product itself and then design procedure how to assemble it. there's a few operations actually take place, and not that simple, very accurate, and etc. And then, of course, produce proper engineering drawings, and that line was built in the plant. So as you can see, all these are real industrial projects that actually very challenging and also rewarding, because you can see the actual impact in real industry. Okay, so that's my line of projects, but then I want to show you the projects of my colleagues, so we can switch to the projects done by, okay, so which one is that?
Remote?
Yeah, okay. This one is done by Professor Fanny Kerk, so he collaborates.
Maybe just, are there any questions so far from any of the students, either online or here on campus?
You're welcome.
Okay, if you have any questions, feel free either to write in the chat or to ask by using your microphone.
Okay, thank you. So Professor Fanny Kerk is responsible for this sort of project in collaboration with Rotingen University on so-called the lab. The A lab. It's basically online robotics labs where the students can perform various projects or lab work over the internet, which is of course a big advantage if you don't have that latest technology. So our students participate in that. So you can see in this picture you got German students working, and there's some South African students working at Rotingen University. So there's more than just that. There's other projects regarding the PLC-based kind of projects related to some process controlling type of projects. As you can see, that's one student who worked on the Siemens project and some control system type of projects. If you're interested, especially mechatronics students might be interested in that. So it's just I'm showing you various projects done by students at this. These are the projects done in a laboratory at the university itself. Yeah, so you can see various interesting projects related to mechatronics and control systems. So that's, if you're interested, that's also there. And there's one more group of researchers and students working on the, yes, Professor Russell Phillips. So he leads this autonomous operation group. So they involved in projects related to autonomous operation of various drones, aerial vehicles, etc. So they have also laboratory there at the university where they're building their vehicles, and then basically it's a lot of experience, practical experience, because everything is done by students, from the basic design to actual implementation. So as you can see, as is mentioned on this slide, so how they're building it, and they're also involved in various techniques that they use, machinery as well, as showing on this slide. And there's also interest in their lab. They're also working on the marine side. Yeah, of course, traditional wind turbines or whatever unusual specific type of wind turbines, they're also working on that. Renewable energies, basically. They're working on that, on those projects. There's some vehicle they also designed and participated in competitions.
Was that Professor Phillips? With his aircraft?
Yes, yeah. So he's a pilot himself. So he's very much committed to that, so driving this research, interesting projects. So might be, if you're interested, some of the students from Rotingen definitely participated in his projects. Yeah, various types of drones. Of course, the student already was in another slide, remember, yeah, or the video. Yeah, you can see there's a solar sort of wings, etc. And yeah, as you can see, students building those. Yeah, as I mentioned, marine projects. It's a big area now at our university. Various marine engineering projects. So they building those as well. Okay, so if you're more interested, I can obviously provide information, or you can contact me or your lecturers at Rotingen University. I think that basically brings me to the end of my presentation. So there's 3 fields, as you can see, that you can participate while you are either in internship project or studying for your degree, or in master projects, study.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Gorlach.
I just wanted to add something about Russell Phillips to his topics. So when I have met him in person, I was very excited about his ability to design the planes themselves. So he designs them, he puts it in theory, makes it in practice with special efforts on special properties, propulsion systems, electrical combustion engine. So if you are interested in these areas, go there. Automation, specialties in automation and regulation, Theo van Niekerk. So they have all very special topics, which is very addictive if you are just in. And if it is accidentally not fitting, you can always shift between these topics. So you have a fallback solution. Just to mention about him, he has already told what his profession is. So thank you.
Yeah, no, obviously robotics.
My 2 cents.
Yeah, no, perfect. That's right. Of course, there are projects in robotics just with which I can also supervise. Straightforward robotics or practical applications, or even higher level research in robotics. Okay, that's basically all.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, students, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. What would be interesting for us to know is also which study programs you are representing. So maybe you can write in the chat what you are studying at Reutlingen University. If you have any questions, feel free to post in the chat or use your microphone. I think it's really important what Professor Sönmez also said, that you have quite a bit of flexibility. So before you apply for the study abroad stay, you don't know exactly the project you are going to get at the partner university. So you have an idea of the research areas that are available, but like half a year or more before the stay actually takes place, professors in South Africa cannot exactly tell which project it's going to be. But on the other hand, when you arrive, there's also a bit of flexibility if you would like to, if you're not fully satisfied, or if you would like to explore different project possibilities, you can do that after arrival and then make your final decision.
100%, yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Thank you very much.
Okay.
No questions from me?
It seems there are no questions at the moment. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you so much. Haben Sie noch eine Frage eventuell? Okay. So wenn Sie eine Frage auf Deutsch stellen wollen, geht das natürlich auch. Fühlen Sie sich nicht durch Englisch eingeschüchtert. So next presentation will be by our visitor from Stellenbosch University. Again, I will start with a very brief introduction of the partner university and then hand over to Professor Tinus Poison. Just a second, trying to find the correct presentation. Yeah. So we have a second partner university in South Africa for quite a long time. It's Stellenbosch University, located close to Cape Town, on the Cape. You say on the Cape? I'm not sure, but close to Cape Town, one hour by car approximately from Cape Town. Very nice area. I forgot to mention that Nelson Mandela University is located on the Eastern Cape, so approximately 700 kilometers from Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is surrounded by mountains, but also the seashore is not far, and it's very famous for its wine. Okay.
Delicious wine.
So, hopefully. Yeah, okay. So also possibilities for all engineering study programs. You can participate in lectures taught in English. You can select across different study areas. So Stellenbosch is quite flexible in terms of course selection, and increasing number of Reutlingen students in the past went to Stellenbosch to do a study semester. But as we have contacts to a number of professors in the engineering department at Stellenbosch, it's also possible to do projects. Same idea as with Nelson Mandela University. You can go abroad during your praxis semester, your internship semester. Instead of doing it with a company, you can go to our partner university, for example, Stellenbosch, work one semester with one of the professors there, and get 30 ECTS credits recognized for the project you did abroad. Also, master students can go abroad and perform their R&D module. It's possible in mechatronics, in mechanical engineering, but also for students in distributed energy systems, energy efficiency, and also micro and power electronics. Thesis is more or less the same. You go abroad, work on a project, and in parallel, you have to write your final thesis in English. So it's a bit of an additional challenge, but it also, we have done this in the past many times, and it led to very successful results, including some publications. So if you are interested in pursuing an academic career in the future, go for a PhD, for example, this is certainly a very good idea. English is also a requirement here, of course, to either to attend lectures or to communicate on a professional level with your supervisors. Again, here you can either go abroad during our summer semester or our winter semester. What's special is that we have two separate application deadlines. One is for the study semesters. So the applications have to be filed by September 15 if you want to do only lectures in Stellenbosch. Whereas if you want to do a project, you can submit your application by the regular application deadline, because these are two separate programs within Stellenbosch University. Okay, so now it's my pleasure to hand over to Tinus Boysen. He's a professor in electrical engineering. He does not like to be called professor so much, I know. So it's a great pleasure to have him, and he will give an overview of his research areas. Shall we start with the video?
Yeah,
no,
just go to the presentation. That's good. Thanks.
Okay.
I'll show the video later. Okay. That's okay.
Yours.
Thanks, Max, and welcome to all online. I'll try to go through this really quickly. What I'm going to present is mostly my research area. There's also other lecturers interested, but we'll incorporate those on a need-to-know basis. So first of all, just where is Stellenbosch? It is at the southern tip of a continent just south of here. It's called Africa. And at the south of this is South Africa. And then inside there is Stellenbosch, very small town. It's very similar to Münster. How do you pronounce it? Munster, Münster?
Correct. Yeah.
Close enough. Very similar to that small Stellenbosch university town. And very importantly, I think if you were to come to us, we have more than 150 wine farms dotted around the town. That is the town right there on the picture. And we have quite a few breweries as well in and around the town. So if you come, it's not going to be just academic work all the way. It is a tourist destination and the German visitors love it. So I'm pretty sure if you decide to come to Stellenbosch, you'll enjoy it as well. That's just some of the scenery of Stellenbosch University with some of the building and facilities. So it's a very old university. We were founded in 1918. It's pretty big as well. We've got over 30,000 students and 10 faculties, which I'm not going to go into. I'm obviously only representing engineering. This is the engineering building. It is substantial, and inside this engineering building we have this says faculties, it's supposed to say departments. We have the Department of E&E Engineering, Mechanical and Mechatronic Engineering, Industrial, Civil, and Chemical. At the moment, we have a strong exchange with industrial engineering, but I'm representing E&E, and we've received quite a few students from Reutlingen, and we've also sent quite a few here. 2 of them are right here, right now. We're a big faculty. We have 4,000 students approximately, and it's about 3,000 of those are undergrad and 1,000 postgrad. This is, if you were to join us, this is where you will be seated. This is what we call the media lab. So inside our faculty, we have this space where the postgraduate students sit and work together. There's a nice table tennis area there, and they typically do barbecues on a Wednesday afternoon and spend a lot of time together. And you'll see one of the people sitting here is going to pop up in the video in a second. But this space is allocated to working together, sharing information, and really getting things done. It's not just about playing. There's a lot of productivity going on as well. And it ranges from computer science to engineering, energy, everything that's done there. Now, in terms of the projects that I want to quickly cover, the first big thing that we're working on right now is electric mobility. And this we do in terms of the vehicles. So we look, I'll show you in a second, but looking specifically at what the vehicle requirements are, we're well behind Europe and Asia and America in terms of electrification of mobility. So there's a lot of challenges we have to overcome, and these challenges are quite unique to the area. We look at infrastructure and we look at operations and planning. And then some of the other stuff that I'll show you now that we're working on is the impact on inverters and water heating on the electrical network. We don't have enough electricity in South Africa, which means we literally lose electricity for a few hours every day. And that switching has an impact on our lives, but also it has a big impact on the grid when everything comes back on. So we have nice, unique challenges that you can get stuck into. Looking at domestic water heating, that's one of our other big projects going on. And then agricultural Internet of Things and air quality is some of the things that I'm going to talk you through. So the first thing is just about electrification of our mobility infrastructure. We have something that's called paratransit, but basically it just means it's like you have big buses, we have small buses, and these buses are completely decentralized. Is there a question? I hear something popping. Please do feel free to interrupt me. And these buses are owned by many different owners, and it doesn't have a schedule, so it's completely different to what you're used to here. And because of that, it introduces many different challenges in terms of its mobility patterns are different, the way that it behaves is different, and its commercial speed, for example, is also very different. But what we try to do as a group, we try to understand this main mode of mobility in sub-Saharan Africa, trying to understand the energy requirements and trying to understand to what extent we can offset it with renewable energy and to what extent we can service the sector without impacting their mobility through the transition to electrification. Some of the work that we've done is with Oxford University, and this is just assessing how what the sampling period of tracking needs to be to adequately cover electric planning so that you adequately cover for electrification. We're looking at things like spatio-temporal data analysis to understand where and when vehicles go, because again, this is sub-Saharan Africa, which means vehicles don't stick to the roads, and the virtual roads are not necessarily the same as what they are on the ground, just because our GIS systems are not necessarily updated. So Johan has done a lot of work on this. Also trying to understand how they physically move, because that has a big impact on the energy requirements. And just a very interesting, weird thing that we've picked up, that these vehicles only stop at 30% of the stop signs that they reach. So they just drive through, which obviously has a big big impact on energy requirements. In addition to just analyzing the data, we're also using simulators. So this is micro mobility simulators. And what we found is that those simulators and the virtual maps and the virtual drivers, they don't give the same results. Depending on which simulators you use, you get different results. So a lot of the work is going into getting these simulators and the models tuned for African conditions to give us at least the same answer and then hopefully the right answer. We're getting the first electric buses in South Africa in the next month, hopefully, if everything works out. I'll show you in a minute what they look like, and then we want to validate this. So if you were to come to South Africa, that'll probably be part of what you keep yourself busy with. Now, in terms of moving away from the vehicles, moving to the infrastructure, we also do analysis of what is the impact on the grid, the local grid, and also the national grid, if these vehicles were all to convert to electric vehicles, just because we don't have enough electricity. And then, as I said, trying to spatially and temporally match that with solar power availability and looking at to what extent we can use stationary battery storage to provide temporary energy in case of fast charging requirements. Also looking at vehicle to grid application. So this is one area that you can also get stuck into, and this is, I think, relevant for Germany as well, not just for South Africa. This is one vehicle that we're importing now, so it's strange to believe, but this will be the very first electric minibus taxi in sub-Saharan Africa that we know of. And then we're also doing a retrofit. So Stefan is sitting there, and what we're doing here, because we have 250,000 of these in South Africa, we're looking at to what extent you can rip out the internal combustion engine and then replace that with electric propulsion, with batteries, and with, what's the other thing I'm missing? Gearbox.
Yeah.
Yes, and then the other nice project that we're doing actually with TUM, but we need support with this, we don't have enough hands on the ground, is so you're welcome to join this one as well. And that's looking at standalone charging stations for agricultural applications. We're developing an electric tractor with them. This is just one small electric vehicle that we're making with in South Africa, and we're charging that with an off-grid charger that's charged with solar power. This is long distance transport, so looking at battery swapping, and we're working with Professor Tsenner on this one, looking at ways to use hydrogen power to power these vehicles because they have to do long distances. Just moving away from transport, this is the impact that inverters have in South Africa on the grid. Just you don't have to understand exactly what's going on here, but basically every time that the electricity is turned on again in this rolling blackout scheme, all the water heaters, we use electricity to heat water, and also all the inverters and batteries are charging, which causes these huge spikes on our grid that causes destabilization on the grid. So it's about understanding that on a grid level, simulating it. Then another big project, as I said, is water heating. So we're trying to understand to what extent we can optimize water heating. Different to Europe, we don't heat water with gas, we heat it with electricity, and we don't really have heat pumps. We basically just do direct heating with a thermostat and an element, and we're trying to understand the behavioral patterns in the water heating and trying to optimize how we heat the water when, based on consumption patterns that we've observed from people. This is also work that we've done with Professor Bernd Thomas, and this is understanding what's going on inside these electric water heaters. As I said, these are horizontal, they're not vertical, so we need to understand what happens inside the tank so that we can properly control and to deliver hot water at the necessary times, especially trying to save and preserve energy. Another project that we're working on now is air quality sensors. So you may be aware Canada has had a lot of veld fires. Do you call them that? Does that work in German? No. Wildfires, bushfires. Yeah. And they were all going crazy because the air quality was so bad in New York and everywhere. Mm-hmm. But the air quality that we measure in the informal settlements in South Africa is way more than what they measured in the US, just because people use wood fire to cook food and whatever. So we're running an awareness campaign measuring air quality in various scenarios, just to also establish what's going on there and the impact on human health. Another project that we're working on is smart tunnels, and the objective of this is to understand what goes on inside these tunnels and to what extent we can control the temperatures so that we can create an optimal growth environment for the plants and specifically looking at climate resilient plants. So we're building thermal models. The bottom one is a theoretical model. Top one is a data-driven model. And one thing that we have to do soon, which somebody can jump into, is we have to develop a similar model for a shipping container into which they want to plant produce and do vertical farming in shipping containers. This is just a simple example of another project that we're busy with, developing small solutions with IoT capabilities to control pH levels and TDS levels and everything for local production, subsistence farming basically inside the house. And that is everything. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask, and you're welcome to share the video if you want.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How many clones do you have running so many projects and areas? It's impressive. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For this presentation, and to the students also, feel free to ask. I think highly interesting areas to do projects with Tinus Boysen, and yes, do not hesitate. You can also ask your questions in German if that's a obstacle. So feel free. Hamdine, do you have a question? No, all the questions have been answered. Okay.
So I have here also one hint. When I have been in Stellenbosch, I was really excited to see, it's called the Launch Lab, right? Yeah, so there have a special area where the students can ignite a startup company. And there are also not small companies, but also big companies. CubeSat, I think.
Yes.
I talked to.
CubeSpace.
CubeSpace, yes. And the CEO has said nobody from external can work there, but there are ways to work there if you're not an external, but getting internal as a student at Stellenbosch. Well, if you are interested in special topics, there are also possibilities on top of the amazing topics Tinus has shown you. So be free.
Anything the South African students would like to share or tell about Stellenbosch? Maybe something that is not related to research or anything like that, but maybe about student life. You can come to the front if you want, about student life in Stellenbosch. It's just a few words from the student perspective. I think that's always at least as interesting what professors can tell, because of course we know that studying abroad means also experiencing the host country and student life at the partner university. So maybe Johannes, who's a master's student, can share a little bit.
I might be a bit biased because I grew up in a town as well. But my experience actually which I've had with the German exchange students coming there, they've all had some of the best times of their lives for the 6 months there. Stellenbosch itself is mostly students, so it's the core of the town. Without the students, there's no town really. So wherever you go, it's the town is the campus. It is not separated. You walk through the town to get from class to the other, depending on where your classes are. And most of the German students specifically actually return a year later, and I end up seeing them on the street 2 years after I met them, either just wanting to work there or holiday or whatever. So for some reason, there's a big pool for German specifically. I think when you go in Stellenbosch, you might even be comfortable speaking German with a lot of people there. That's the second most language I hear in Stellenbosch. So I think in a way, just in terms of the size of the faculty in Stellenbosch engineering, it's about the same as the campus size here. So that will give you an idea of the scale that it is.
And what are typical student activities outside class? Maybe you can weigh in on that.
It's a very active town. If on a Saturday morning, the biggest traffic jams are going to be on the mountains. People walking, hiking, walking the dog, whatever. The outdoor activities there's a lot. The beach is 20 minutes away. The mountains are a 5-minute walk away. The sport that the university offers ranges from rugby to football to water polo, almost anything you can think of. And in terms of social life, I mean, with 30,000 students, you can't go wrong with social life. And as Tinus also said, with the wine farms surrounding the area, it's quite a unique place where you can have a little bit of everything within a 30-minute drive. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the teaser. So that leads us to, you can stay here, maybe. I need to. Because the next topic that we would quickly like to address is the question also of safety. So this is something that also students ask us when they go abroad. So we would also like to address this topic, also to make sure that there are no wrong ideas of what studying in South Africa is like. So maybe from your point of view, I know that Stellenbosch is a quite safe place for South African standards. I mean, in very general terms, would you consider studying abroad in Stellenbosch in general in South Africa safe if you stick to certain rules?
Yes, I think the issue of safety in South Africa, it's very relative to one's experience and where you've lived, but also a lot of the numbers and things you see and read online, it's centralized in some areas, and it's very easy to just avoid these areas. I'm talking both in a bigger scale, avoiding different cities, but also within a city to just not be in certain areas where most of the crime is centralized, and not really having interaction with that would make it pretty much as safe as Europe in Stellenbosch, I'd say. I'm just speaking for myself, and if someone else might have a different opinion or experience. The notes on here are actually very accurate. I think following these 5 rules is something that will keep you out of any danger. So yeah, I myself haven't experienced anything unsafe in Stellenbosch, but again, it's all relative and based on some experiences. So.
But it also matches our experience. Just to put it into context, we sent, as Rotting University, we sent about 10 to 20 students per semester to South Africa, and extremely rarely any incident happened. And it's, to my knowledge, never any severe incident. So of course it can happen that something can get stolen. So there is, of course, there are such issues. But if you stick to certain rules, and if you are moving in the country with your eyes open, and you are attentive what's happening around you, then it's absolutely possible to have a very safe study abroad experience from our experience. So Tinos, anything from your side you would like to add on the topic?
Yeah, just a few things. So I think it's exactly right. You can feel as if you're in Reutlingen there, as long as you stick to those rules. I do think it's slightly different for male students than for female students, but we've had Larissa. Larissa was perfectly safe, and basically the only advice we told her is don't walk alone after dark, and that was fine. Larissa enjoyed the time there so much. She went surfing, went hiking and everything in a group, and she basically told me she felt safe all the time. So I don't think it's an issue as long as you stick to the rules. Yeah,
perfect. And also both the host university Stellenbosch and also Rotting University prepare students who study abroad in South Africa. So those we send abroad, they are usually briefed by the study abroad coordinator, and there is a specific seminar concerning studying abroad in South Africa that also goes a bit into the details of important rules and rules of behavior in South Africa. And also the partner university, when you arrive, they have orientation weeks, and it's really important to participate because, again, they will they explain to you what's really important, and also the local students can share their experience with you. What can I do to reduce the risk as a student? The 5 rules you see here on the poster, I think, are essential, especially that you don't, as Tinos just said, stick to a group if you are moving during night times. And apart from that, if you would like to read further information about the topic, you can, of course, read the reports that our students who have been abroad, you can read them. They are available on our website. You can also read on the website of Auswärtiges Amt, that's the German foreign ministry. You can read about the current situation in South Africa, or you can approach your study abroad coordinator or professors. So we want to be extremely transparent about this topic, but we can also say from our experience and the close cooperation we have with our South African partners that it's relatively safe to study in South Africa. Robbery or anything like that can happen also to you in Berlin or in any other big city worldwide. So yeah, so this is our experience in the past 15 to 20 years of cooperation with South Africa, that luckily so far no major incident has happened. Okay, so we are ahead of schedule. We have been extremely fast. So students, feel free to ask some questions if you have. Well, those who are attending online, or someone here, Mr. Do you have a question? Maybe no. Okay, no questions. Okay. Thank you so much for attending, and yeah, we are looking forward to receiving applications. If you have any questions, feel free to approach us. You can find the contact details on the website, and also, yeah, talk to your fellow students, convince them to join you in your study abroad semester. There are great opportunities in South Africa and other countries as well, and we are trying to support you as much as we can. Thank you very much.
So thank you having taken part to this organization of information from firsthand South Africa. And we are available not only by email, but also in our offices. Just come over. Let's talk together about your concerns and questions. Thank you, and see you in South Africa. Bye-bye.